Sometimes kindness slips out of us without planning. A few honest words, spoken at the right moment, can change the air in a room and the direction of a life. This story starts with a simple compliment. Nothing dramatic, nothing heroic. Just a moment that made my heart stop when I realized what it truly meant. I didn't know it then, but that one sentence would reach further than I could ever imagine. It would touch old wounds, unlock buried memories, and remind me that kindness isn't loud or flashy. Sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes it comes back to you in ways you're not ready for. Before we get into the story, if you enjoy real-life stories that warm your heart and remind you of the power of kindness, take a moment to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these stories alive here on your channel name. I was home for the weekend, sitting at the kitchen table scrolling on my phone while my mom moved around the house, getting ready for company. She had that familiar energy, half excited, half stressed, the kind she always got when someone important was coming over. "Linda's stopping by," she said casually, as if it didn't matter. But I knew better. Linda had been my mom's closest friend since before I was born. I'd grown up calling her Aunt Linda, even though we weren't related by blood. I hadn't seen her in a while. Life gets busy like that. Jobs, responsibilities, distance. People drift without meaning to. When the doorbell rang, my mom practically rushed to answer it. I stayed back, listening to their voices blend together in the entryway. There was laughter, the sound of bags being set down, the familiar comfort of two people who had shared decades of life. Then Linda stepped into the kitchen. She looked different, not in a bad way, just quieter somehow. Her smile was there, but it didn't fully reach her eyes. She was dressed simply, jeans, a soft blue top, and her hair was pulled back, streaked with more gray than I remembered. She noticed me standing there and smiled wider. "Well, look at you," she said. "When did you grow up?" I laughed, the way people always do in that moment. We hugged, and I could feel how thin she'd gotten, fragile almost. We made small talk, work, traffic, the weather, the kind of conversation that fills space but avoids depth. But as she moved around the kitchen, helping my mom like she always had, I kept noticing things. The way she stood slightly hunched, like she was trying not to take up too much room. The way she avoided mirrors. The way she brushed off compliments my mom gave her about helping out. At one point, she caught me looking at her and smiled nervously. "What?" she asked. And without thinking, without planning or filtering, I said it. "You look really beautiful today." The room went quiet. It wasn't awkward silence. It was heavier than that. Linda froze, her hand still resting on the counter. My mom stopped moving. Even I felt surprised by my own words. Linda turned slowly and looked at me. Really looked at me. Her eyes filled instantly, like a dam had cracked. "Oh," she said softly. That was it. Just one word. She stepped closer, put a hand over her mouth, and laughed through tears. I don't think anyone said that to me in a very long time. I felt my chest tighten. "I meant it," I said quickly. "I really did." She nodded, blinking hard. Then she surprised me by pulling out a chair and sitting down. "Can I tell you something?" she asked. I nodded and sat across from her. She took a breath. "A year ago, I went through a divorce, 32 years of marriage gone. And when it ended, I didn't just lose him, I lost myself. I hadn't known. No one had told me." My mom looked down, clearly aware but respecting that this was Linda's moment to speak. "I stopped seeing myself as anything," Linda continued. "Not beautiful. Not interesting. Not worth noticing. I became invisible, and after a while, you start believing that's all you are." Her voice cracked. "So when you said that, it reminded me that maybe I'm still here. That maybe I still matter. I didn't know what to say. My throat burned. All I could think was how close I'd come to staying quiet, to keeping that thought in my head instead of letting it out." We sat there for a moment, just breathing. Later that evening, after dinner and laughter and old stories, Linda hugged me goodbye. This hug was different, tighter, longer. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what you gave me today." After she left, I couldn't stop thinking about it. How many times had I noticed something kind, something good, and kept it to myself? How many chances had I missed to lift someone up because I didn't want to sound awkward or silly? A few weeks later, I got a message from Linda. She told me she'd started taking care of herself again, going on walks, meeting friends, even signed up for a class she'd always wanted to try. "I keep hearing your voice in my head," she wrote, "and it reminds me to stand a little taller." That message stayed with me. Kindness doesn't always look like grand gestures. It's not always donations or speeches or dramatic rescues. Sometimes it's a sentence. Sometimes it's eye contact. Sometimes it's telling someone the truth they've forgotten about themselves. We live in a world that's quick to criticize and slow to praise. A world where people are silently carrying heartbreaks, losses, and insecurities we know nothing about. And yet, we all have this quiet power, the power to notice, the power to speak, the power to be kind without expecting anything in return. I still think about that day in the kitchen, about how close I came to saying nothing, and I wonder how many people around us are waiting, without realizing it, for one honest, gentle word. So if you notice something beautiful in someone today, say it. If you feel gratitude, express it. If a kind thought crosses your mind, let it out. Because you never know who's standing in front of you, holding themselves together, hoping, just hoping, that someone sees them. And that's the magic of kindness. It doesn't just change others, it changes us too. If this story moved you, share it with someone who might need the reminder. And maybe today, be that person who speaks up. You might leave someone speechless, in the best way possible.